Horror have never really been a genre that I've been particularly good with in the past. I'm just easily scared. Despite that, Resident Evil 2 Remake is easily one of the best games I've ever played despite the fact that it's in the survival horror genre. Resident Evil 2 Remake has an extremely compelling story and a very simple but engaging gameplay system. It is a game I was hesitant to start but absolutely blew me away and will forever be amazing in my mind. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a 2019 remake of a game that originally came out over 20 years ago in 1998. That game is simply titled Resident Evil 2. I have not played the original version of this game, so I will be talking solely on the remake. The game's story follows two characters, Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield, that you play as in two different campaigns that are happening simultaneously, meaning you must beat the game at least twice in order to get the full story. The game allows you to choose a character to start as, but it is encouraged that you start as Leon. The game starts as both Leon and Claire are on their way to Raccoon City, a fictional city set somewhere in the Midwest. Leon Kennedy is a rookie cop who was supposed to start his first day in Raccoon City a week before the start of the game, but got a message saying to stay away. After no responses to any of his messages, he decides to head to Raccoon City to see what's happened. Somewhere near the city, he stops at a gas station only to find the lights off inside. Upon entering the station and investigating, he finds a man biting another officer's neck, before turning to Leon showing a grotesque, decayed-looking face. After shooting the aggressive, decayed-looking man, Leon swiftly tries to make his way out of the store only to find more of these decayed-looking people blocking the way he once came in. He pushes his way through the people, avoiding getting hurt by any of them, and when he gets outside, he runs into a panicked Claire who got ambushed at her car. They then take the police car left behind by the unfortunate officer who got his neck ripped out by the first aggressor. Okay, I'm just gonna start calling them zombies from now on. Claire was heading to Raccoon City in order to find her brother Chris, who has been missing for a while. They head into Raccoon City together, deciding to go straight for the police station to find out any info they can. They find the city littered with zombies in flames, and they run into some troubles with the car they were in. Now separated by fire and zombies, they agree to meet up at the police station, which is only a few blocks away. Once you arrive, the game's opening officially ends and you reach the game's main area, the police station. From there, the game story opens up as Leon and Claire are trying to find a way out of the police station while unraveling the truth of what happened in Raccoon City. Their journey leads them through the police station, down into the sewers, and into a secret facility under the city where they realize that the Umbrella Pharmaceutical Company may not just be a simple pharmaceutical company. As Leon and Claire work their way through the areas, they meet supporting characters that end up joining up with them. Leon meets Ada Wong, an FBI agent that is trying to gather proof that the Umbrella Company is performing illegal experiments, while Claire meets Sherry Birkin, a young girl whose parents work at the Umbrella Company and is just trying to find her mother. There are many more plot points that weave together to make this story truly great, but I'll leave that for you to find out on your own. I believe Resident Evil 2 Remake story is definitely one of its strong points. It feels very action movie-esque, but I think that is very intentional for the sort of grand zombie story it's trying to tell, and it works well. I had a blast playing through it. Every twist and turn had me engaged, and although it was a bit predictable at times, the interesting characters and set pieces definitely made it appealing all the way to the end credits. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a survival horror, third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter game, meaning the camera is positioned behind the playable character and is looking over their shoulder. The game has you going through a zombie-infested police station trying to piece together what happened before you arrived. Most rooms and hallways are fair game for zombies to pop up from behind the corner, but there are a few safe rooms sprinkled throughout the station that act as a sort of breather where you can relax and plan your next route. These safe rooms cannot be answered by zombies and have typewriters where you can save your progress. The game uses an inventory system, a place where items and weapons you pick up are stored. The inventory is shaped like a rectangle with a finite number of squares. Items you pick up take up 1 or 2 squares of space, and as a result, you have to keep in mind how much space you have when you see an item. If you see ammo, but your inventory is full, do you drop the medicine you have? Do you hope you can make to the next safe room with the ammo you have on you? You cannot kill every zombie you see in the game, so the game encourages creative ways to get around these enemies. This added layer of depth adds to the atmosphere that you're really trying to survive and make every bullet count. That being said, every safe room has a chest with unlimited space, which is shared with every single safe room in the game, so if you run out of inventory space, you can put an item in the chest and pick it up in the next safe room. This may not be very realistic, but compromises must be made in order to make the game feel fair. Some items don't take up inventory space, having their own separate menu. These items are usually notebooks or scraps of paper that can give you information like journal entries of the officers that went through the outbreak, hints to the many puzzles in the game, and codes to safes and chests that contain helpful items. So exploration is highly encouraged. RE2 has 3 difficulty modes and isn't a very long game, but it is a game that encourages multiple playthroughs in order to become better at the game and beat it in a faster time. I played the game on standard difficulty. Leon's route took me about 7 hours to finish and Claire's route took about 6 hours, totaling to about 13 hours. The difficulty modes are as follows: Assisted, Standard, and Hardcore. Standard is the intended way to play the game, with Assisted being an option for those that don't really play shooters or games in general, offering auto aim that locks onto enemies automatically for you, weaker enemies, and health regeneration. On the opposite side of the coin, Hardcore is for veteran Resident Evil players, making all the enemies in the game stronger and tougher. Hardcore also gives you a finite number of an item called the Ink Ribbon, which makes it so you can't save the game as many times as you want. I have not played this mode. I don't think it'd be impossible for me to do, but I'd rather not add the unnecessary stress to a game that already strikes that balance between stress and fun. Not to mention my aim isn't great, and bullets already feel limited in standard.
I'm a horrible shot.
Leon and Claire face similar puzzles and gameplay, but interact with different characters throughout the game. The game story mode is played in an A route, B route system, meaning whoever you choose first, you have to play their A route, and then the other character's B route will be unlocked. This does not affect the story. It just affects what items and rooms you have access to, as well as puzzles and codes having different solutions. I played as Leon first, so I had to play Claire's B route in order to beat the game fully. In Claire's B route, she enters the police station later than Leon, so some of the rooms are already opened. This really makes the story feel connected because you can see what you did as Leon in Claire's route as you try to meet up with him. This makes the game really interesting to play. There are some unlockable game modes you get after completing the whole story mode. The first of these is Force Survivor, where you play as a heavily armed soldier and try to escape the police station. This mode is no joke. It is difficult and tests everything you learned while playing the story. If you manage to beat this mode, you can unlock the Tofu Survivor, where you do the same thing as in Force Survivor mode and try to escape the police station, but this time with a literal block of tofu. I didn't have time to unlock this mode, but apparently it is even more difficult than Force Survivor mode, truly testing the player's skill. Resident Evil 2 Remake is super scary. It had me screaming the whole way through, and I can't properly talk about the strengths of this game without bringing up Mr. X. That's not his actual name, but it's what people in the community call him. RE2 Remake does a really good job of setting up atmosphere. You never know what could be hiding around the corner, but for the most part, zombies stay in their general area. And if you do what I did for most of the game and shoot off their legs, they really aren't much of a threat unless they corner you. This all changes when Mr. X jumps onto the scene. He is some sort of super zombie, and he's intelligent. He doesn't care where you are. If you're not in a safe room, he is coming for you at all times, and his footsteps are loud. Whether he's right above you, right next to you, or right below you, you can hear his footsteps as if he was right next to you. This feeling is terrifying because you can't kill him. You can only briefly stun him. Running is your only option. Couple this with a hallway full of zombies, and suddenly you have a terrifying situation where you need to run from Mr. X while trying not to get your face bit off by zombies. Mr. X is probably the biggest threat besides the game bosses, but that doesn't mean he's the only zombie variant in the game. There are strange crawling zombies called lickers that can't see but have a keen hearing sense and are extremely fast, as well as zombie dogs that are really fast and aggressive. These variant zombies usually take more ammo to take down, so if you waste too much ammo on a regular zombie, you'll have a tough time dealing with the variants. I think gameplay is what makes RE2 Remake a phenomenal game. It strikes that perfect balance between difficulty and fun. A horror game should strive to be difficult in order to scare the player, but not too difficult as to make the player not want to play anymore. Not only that, but the blend between gameplay and story is incredible. The game wants to make you care about these characters and put you in the shoes of Leon and Claire, and I think it does it in spades. There aren't very many games that are able to mix gameplay and story together, but RE2 Remake almost makes it look easy. It is easily one of my favorite games of all time, one of the best horror games of all time, and an overall amazing experience. If you're able to, I highly recommend picking this game up and trying it for yourself. You will not be disappointed.